Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Vosters. I'm a high school engineering and architecture teacher, and this is part 4 of a video series introducing you to Revit and how to use some basic tools within Revit to model things like this house, for example. So here's the floor plan of the house that we are designing. Here's a picture of the exterior. Previously, we have modeled the floor and the stairs. So if you have not watched those videos, I would encourage you to start there. Like I said, this is part 4, so parts 1, 2, and 3 are posted as part of this playlist on my YouTube channel. So part 4, we will be designing the walls. So our finished product should look something like this, where we are adding our blue siding, our stone veneer there, and then we've also got our foundation walls there as well. Lastly, we've got some interior walls that will be gypsum wallboard on both sides. So again, we've got to come up with this blue siding. We're not going to get as complicated as we see here, where we got some vertical pattern and some horizontal pattern. We're just going to keep it simple and do a horizontal pattern everywhere that we see that blue siding. We will try to add some stone veneer here, so we'll have to set that up. And then as we see in the pictures here, pretty much everywhere inside of the house, other than this fireplace, is just gypsum wallboard pretty much everywhere. Maybe, yeah, I guess the shower obviously is not gypsum wallboard, it's tile, but we're not going to touch that in this video. So we won't have to do too much setup, but I will show you how to create different types of walls in Revit, and we'll also go through the process of actually putting those walls in place. So let's jump back to our unfinished drawing here. We're going to start by setting up our walls. So if we go into the wall tool, again, I'm starting in the architecture tab. I clicked on wall, and then it allows me to select any number of walls from this drop down. So in order to set up the stone veneer wall, which we'll do first, let's just pick one that is pretty close, and then we'll duplicate it and modify the appearance of it. So brick on wood stud seems to me like the closest one. That stone veneer is likely on a wood stud, 2x4 or 2x6. So if we look at this one, we can see what it's made of. So this is a 2x6 piece of lumber. It's got gypsum wallboard on the inside, and then the exterior side is plywood sheathing with a 1-inch air gap, and then just one row of brick. So, or one course of brick. So let's go back, click cancel, and then we're going to duplicate this, and instead of brick on wood stud, we'll do stone on wood stud. It's not going to be the second version, so we'll just delete that too. So exterior stone on wood stud, click OK. Then we need to actually go in and edit the structure. So if we click edit, we're going to edit this common brick. So in order to do that, we've got to click on it, and then we'll click on this little square kind of on the right side of this field. So we'll click there, and we can check, but I don't believe there is a stone veneer image or material that we can just sub in real easily. So we're going to have to create a new material. So I'll click out of the search bar and click this new material. So let's actually let's first go to our brick, just because that's going to be a good one to copy. So click on common brick, and then click this little sphere down here and duplicate material and assets. And let's rename that stone, common, just to kind of mimic the syntax for our brick. So then from here, we don't want it to still look like a brick, so we'll have to click down here where we have this little folder looking thing. This is going to bring up our asset browser. So from our asset browser, we're going to look for an ashlar stone pattern. So ASHLAR. If you click within some of the fields here, we may get some results that we want. So there's the Autodesk physical assets, then there's the appearance library. The appearance library looks like it came up with a few more results. So let's look at the ashlar pattern and see if that's anything like what we might want. When I clicked on that, it brought up a lot of different options. So we want this ashlar pattern, and I think it loaded it in. It did. Um, and the only problem with this pattern is if we leave it this size, it's going to be like, it's going to appear very small. So let's try changing the sample size for this to, I don't know, 20 feet. And let's just see if that looks decent. So click apply, click OK again, and we'll click OK one more time. And let's just place that down in front of our house to see how it looks. So you'll have to pull up L1, and we'll go down kind of to our floor plan here. And since we can't see anything, we can't really see where any of our rooms are. That's not a big deal right now, but it will become a factor later. So what I'm going to do is just click on any of my floors. So as I hover over it, it'll kind of highlight in blue. I can click on it, and then when I have that little move symbol popped up, I'm going to right click. It'll bring up this little menu here. You want to make sure you're right clicking. And then select override graphics and view by category. So that's going to select the category of floor. And now we're modifying the view, the graphics properties for all the floors. So under surface transparency, if we select, I don't know, let's go up to like 50 or 60. Let's go to 60 and just see how that looks. If I click OK now, it makes all of my floors transparent. So not completely transparent. We can see it's kind of like a lighter shade than the one up there. That's because this one down here has floors in front of it, which are slightly transparent. So what this is going to allow us to do is just see where these rooms are. So as we're placing our walls later on, we can easily line those up. So let's begin by selecting wall. And then from here, we want to select our stone on wood stud. For the location of it, we want to do, let's do finish face exterior. That's going to be just fine. And for the top constraint of our wall, we want it to start at the ground floor, but we only want it to go up to the second floor. So now if we select kind of along our edge, it should snap to that corner. And as I draw it, it should kind of line up with that edge and not go below it, which would be like outside of our house. We want to keep that same edge as what we see in our floor plan. So we'll just kind of put that right there. I'm going to hit escape a couple times to kind of exit out of that wall command. And I'll jump back to my 3D view. And right now I'm in the maybe textures tab, or I might have been in the shaded tab. Yeah, if I'm in the shaded tab, it just looks like bricks. But if I go back to the textures tab, that actually looks not too bad. And the size is actually pretty good too. And if I go back, I may have to go all the way back to my image one to get a real good look at that. Yeah, and here we can see those stones are pretty big. And I think we actually did a decent job of mimicking the size. So if I were to leave that at like the 6-foot measurement that it was at, these would look a lot smaller and wouldn't really match our house here. Okay, so that wall is set up, and that's actually the only place we're going to use that type of wall. So we're fine, just kind of leaving that. If I rotate this around to the interior of the house by holding shift and pushing in the mouse wheel, we can see the inside of that wall is just gypsum wallboard, which is perfect. So the other wall that we have to set up is our exterior walls with the blue siding. So let's go ahead and do that. We can just go click on any wall, or we can go back to the architecture tab, click on wall, and then from this menu, we can select one that is close. And the closest one is going to be exterior wood siding on wood stud. So once we have our wood siding on wood stud, wall selected. We'll click edit type. And again, we don't want to modify any existing wall types because that would change. Like if we had this one already in our model and then we changed a bunch of things, it would update all of those walls. So in order to leave this one how it is and still be able to like add this one in our model, we need to actually duplicate it so that we're not modifying the existing type. So let's just change this to blue siding on wood stud. It's technically still a wood siding. I suppose it could be like a vinyl plastic siding, but we'll just leave it as like a cedar siding that's been painted blue. So we'll call it blue siding on wood stud. And then now that we've got it duplicated, we can edit the structure, and we're basically just going to change the image for this one. So we'll click on our clapboard siding, click the little square here in the right side of the field. And then from here, we don't want it to look like this. We want it to look blue, like our house, like you see here. So one good way to do this is to go to Google. And if you go to Google Images, you can search for seamless blue siding, maybe say texture or something like that. And you'll get a whole bunch of results that look like this. Seamless is important because otherwise, when you add this texture and it applies it to like a whole big area, you'll see all those seams where they don't quite line up. But by searching for seamless, it should look pretty decent when we actually add it to our model. So as you can see, you get a whole bunch of results when you search something like that because there's a lot of people that are trying to model things in software like Revit. So there is a market for this. So I just chose one. I did upload it to the file folder that you can access. I believe it was this one. I'm not totally sure. So I'm just going to use the one I already have downloaded from my computer. All right, so I'm within the wall menu. I've got blue siding on wood stud selected. I'm editing the structure. And then for the material, I'm going to actually create a new material. We'll call it, let's rename it. Let's just call it blue siding for now. And then we're going to look in our asset browser. We're just going to search for siding. Siding. We should get a few results. Let's see what shows up. So let's go to physical assets, maybe solid. See what shows up there. Anything? No, maybe siding. Yeah, let's load this horizontal 6-inch beige, since that's going to be very similar to what we want. Once you've double clicked it, you can close out of this and it should load it in. So then all we need to do is replace this image that we see under the beige siding here. So for our blue siding, let's maybe change the name of this to blue, just so that it's a little more accurate. And then to change the image, you can click on the image and then just select where it says source. It should kind of highlight like a blue color. And then just find the image on your computer, wherever it is. Click open. This file, like I said, is available in the Google Drive that should be linked under this video. Now we've got it loaded. Once we've got it loaded, we should be able to click done, apply, okay, okay, okay. Now let's just place one of these walls down to check out how it looks. So make sure you have it selected over here. Make sure you've got finish face exterior selected. No offsets, nothing. Make sure you have ground floor as the base constraint, second floor as the top constraint. Then just click, let's do this wall. So kind of click at the top corner, click at the bottom corner, and then hit escape a few times to get out of the wall tool. Jump back to your 3D view, and it looks like that siding is showing up. The lines are a little bit spaced, kind of weird, but overall, That looks pretty good. If I go to realistic, that's what I'm seeing. When I select that, if I just go to textures, looks a little bit different. But if we go to shaded, now it's looking kind of off. If we want to change how it looks when it's shaded, we can select that, go to edit type, click edit, go to our material, and all we need to change is just the graphics. So right now it's just as this gray. If we click choose render or use render appearance, it should kind of switch to more of a navy blue, which will look a little better. Click apply, click OK. Now it's kind of this blue, which is going to give you a better approximation for it. Same for the stone. If we wanted to make that one maybe look a little different, we could change that. And instead of this like brick pattern, we could maybe have it be, I don't know, something a little different. We could have it be this wood board wide or parquet or something like that. Play. Okay, so let's click OK, OK. Again, you don't need to change these things, but for me, sometimes it bothers me if it doesn't look too realistic. All right, we've got our blue siding set up. We've got our stone set up. So let's go back to kind of a textured look, just so we can see that again. And then from here, we can start actually adding our walls. So our basement is going to be real simple. If we open up our basement, that's just going to be concrete walls. So within the architecture tab, we'll select wall. And then instead of our blue siding, we can scroll up. Let's just use a concrete 12-inch wall. Again, we are not structural engineers here. We are just kind of approximating what you would expect to see in a house like this. So we're just going to put some concrete walls in the basement. Leave all your settings kind of similar. Make sure your top constraint, however, is ground floor. Base constraint is now basement. So you're going to kind of go around the house clockwise, just placing these walls. Should be pretty quick. If you want to make it so you don't have to click every time you place a wall, just select this box up here where it says chain. So that's going to allow you to just kind of click from one wall to the next, which should speed things up a little bit here. Otherwise, if you want to have to click between each wall you place, just turn off this chain option up there. And then when you want to get out of the wall command, just hit escape on your keyboard a few times. And that should be all you need to do. Let's go to our 3D view, just check everything out. And that looks pretty decent. Obviously, if this were a real house, we would still be putting some foundation walls around the garage and probably not under this walkway, but there may be other walls that we're not looking at here. We're going to keep things simple. So let's move on to the first floor. We will come back. Actually, let's just do it right now. Let's add some gypsum wallboard walls just around our stairs. I suppose we could do those concrete, but if you're being proactive, you're probably just going to put some simple interior walls there. So let's try to find an interior wall. If we do this 5-inch partition, well, we don't really want a partition wall. Let's just go with this one, 5-inch partition. And then let's try to line it up. So our location line, let's do finish face interior. And then let's go, I think we want to go clockwise again. Yeah, that looks okay. We obviously don't want to block this side of the wall or this side of the staircase. So let's now go down here, keep going counterclockwise or clockwise, connect all those. And now we should have some walls in our basement. If we wanted to look at those from our 3D view, we may have to hide a wall. So if you just click on one of your walls and then right click, you should be able to do hide in view, hide element. And now if you hold down shift and push in your mouse wheel as you hold shift, you should be able to kind of rotate around. And we can see that we have our gypsum wallboard interior wall now. Okay, let's go back. Now we can move on to our first floor, which a lot of these walls, at least the first ones we place, are going to be our blue siding. So go to the architecture tab, go to the wall option, and then find your blue siding on wood stud. And then that's going to be used for all the exterior walls. So make sure all your settings are correct, ground floor to second floor, and then just kind of go around, connect those. So you want to go clockwise, otherwise they'll kind of be reversed. All right, so let's finish that. Let's go back to our wall. And if I click here, I should be able to start placing these again. I do need to hit the escape key, go back to wall, and then let's add some of our garage walls. That one's off by a little bit. Let's go back. Let's place it right there. Okay, again, if you push in the mouse wheel, you can pan around, which is kind of nice when you're zoomed in. Let's back up a little bit. Okay, there we go. We do want this to be kind of snapped to our floor edge. I'm not sure I did a great job of that over here. Let's make sure I didn't miss it. I think I'm on it. If you're not sure, you can drag this out of the way and then use the align tool to kind of snap everything together, which I think we did there. Okay, check it out in 3D. It's starting to come together. We've got our exterior walls kind of how we want them. Now the interior walls, we're going to use that 5-inch wall that we used before. So scroll all the way down to interior 5-inch partition. And then we'll just kind of fill in some of these walls inside here. So this can be a little bit trickier. Make sure you're doing them in the correct direction. Otherwise, you'll need to kind of flip them around. So let's go like that. Oh, since I chose finish face interior, everything is kind of reversed. So if something needs to be kind of flipped around for you, just use that reverse button. We're just trying to get these approximately in the right place. I can't seem to get these where I want them. Okay, there we go. So this may just take a second. I may just speed this up because you'll spend some time going around drawing all these. So this is just a bit of a process. Try not to miss any of these. There's quite a lot of them. But I think I got most of them. You can always come back later and catch any of them that you missed. But I'm going to move on for now. Let's just double check our 3D view. And if I want to, I can hide this floor temporarily just to give ourselves a better look at it. There we go. Did I miss one here? Let me check. Nope, that's just open. I think I got the rest of them now. So let's undo our hide there. So just the undo button, that'll bring it back. And then we can move on to our second floor. So if you click L2, then you bring this one up. We'll have to hide this floor again. So kind of click on one of the edges of it. When you see that little move symbol, right click, go to override graphics and view by category, and then move your transparency up to at least like 50, 60 works too. You don't want it to be too transparent where you can't really see the floor at all, but you do want it high enough where you can see these walls underneath. Okay, so then for the second floor, we need to do our exterior with the blue siding. Let's save the project. If you haven't saved it in a while, make sure you are doing that occasionally. Otherwise, you can lose a lot of work. So go up to blue siding. This is going to be easy to just kind of trace around the outside. Make sure you are snapping it to all of your existing floor edges. Otherwise, you'll be kind of unhappy with the results. So here I'm just kind of using those existing floor edges to position this. Oops. Can't quite tell. I think I missed it here. Yeah, let's use our modify. Let's align these two. Did that work? I think all that did was just move this floor on this wall on the floor below, which I don't think we want. So let's try that one more time. Go to wall, blue siding. There we go. There we go. Sometimes the align tool is a little bit picky, so you need to take matters into your own hands and just kind of start fresh. All right, let's connect that last exterior wall. Hit escape a couple times. Check things out on the 3D view. That looks pretty good. And then if we rotate it, we can check out the back. That also looks pretty good. So then from here, just go ahead and do your interior walls from the L2 floor plan. I'm going to zip through this kind of on higher speed because you'll just do this on your own. Trying to line up, just try to line up all your walls with the ones that you're making. So these walls below are actually kind of messing with me, so I forgot that we can actually kind of fix that. If we just get rid of that underlay, we just do none, then we won't get any of those walls showing up anymore. I should have done that a lot sooner because those were kind of throwing me off. So if we go back to the wall tool, we can go back to making our walls without having it try to snap to things underneath, which is a lot nicer. All right, I think that's pretty good for the second story. Let's just take a look at things from up above. I think we did a decent job there. Some of these may need to be cleaned up a hair, like this one. Not sure why those two walls didn't kind of align with each other. So we could try, we could try just, deleting that and making a new wall, which is what I'll try to do here. And it looks like that kind of fixed it. We can bump that over a little bit. Just click on it and use the arrow keys to kind of move it slightly. We can do that with any of these. Like that one's just off a little bit. Any other ones we need to fix? No, I think we're doing decent. So that's pretty good. Let's zoom out a little bit. Now, the one thing that looks kind of bad that we need to fix is all of our exterior or all of our floors are kind of bumping all the way out to the edge of our house. So we need to clean those up. And that's actually not too tough to do. What we're going to do is go into our floor plans and just using the basement as a quick example. All you do is try to click on your floor, and that's sometimes easier said than done. Like right here, anytime I try to click on the edge, it's just clicking on my walls. So one thing you can do is go into the 3D view and try to click on the floor. Pretty easy to do there, especially since I've hidden one of the walls, easier to get at it. Another thing you can do is try to highlight like a bunch of things. If you just highlight a bunch and use the filter tool, you can uncheck everything and then just check the floors. So once you have the floor selected, you can edit the boundary, and then all you have to do is just use that align tool and move all of those floor boundaries in a little bit. So just click the inside edge of the wall and then click your floor boundary, just the pink line. And as I kind of work around, you can see that these are all kind of on that interior edge now. And if I go back to the modify floors edit boundary tab up here, click the green check, it should take. And then if I go back, now from underneath, it looks a little funky because it's all kind of inside there, but it's not too tough to fix. All we need to do then to like make this look a little bit better is just do a bottom or a base offset for all of our walls here. So that's pretty easy to do. You just highlight everything, and for your filter, check none. And we just want to select all of our walls. Click OK. We don't want to do it with these walls, so we can hold the shift button, and when you see that little minus, you can click on any of these walls. So now just our exterior walls are selected, and you can do a base offset of 10 inches. So for this, you'll want to type a negative, because we want it to go down, negative 10 inches. Hit apply or hit enter. And then when you go back to your 3D view, everything should kind of be flush. So you'll go through and repeat that process for the first floor, the ground floor, and the second floor. And that's going to take away these ugly kind of edges here. So I'm going to kind of zip through that. I might speed it up a little bit as I go through. But if you have questions, leave a comment below, or if you're one of my students, just ask me during class to help you out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now for my first and second floors. So I try to click on the floor here. Once the floor is selected, I can edit the boundary, and I'm just using my align tool to line it up. And actually, I don't want to do it for these two because those are interior edges, because they're adjacent to the garage. So those are not an issue. We'll go here. Remember with the align tool, you want to align it to click the thing you want to align to and then click the thing you want to align. So we'll go back to here, click the green check. We can click attach here and then go to our 3D. And it is bumped in, it's just a little hard to see from there. So we will need to bring those walls down a little bit. So that's not too tough to do. You can either go to like your L1, then if you hold the control key, you'll see this little plus next to your mouse. You can just go around and click all of those exterior walls. we'll need to bring all of those down with a base offset of negative 10 inches. Click apply or hit enter. Go to your 3D view to check your work, and it looks like they're flush now. The only one that we need to still kind of fix is this, the floor in the garage. We didn't bump in those edges. Let's go ahead and do that quick. So we'll edit the boundary, and then we're just going to use the align tool to kind of move those in. There we go. Let's check it out. And that looks pretty good. So we'll do the same thing for the second floor. And in hindsight, we probably should have, let's see if we can click on the floor. In hindsight, we probably should have just aligned these with the inside edges on the floor plan when we drew them, floors that is. But this is still a good practice for you. So just do the exterior walls there. This is for the bathroom. So that one should be good. Click the green check. You can click attach there. If you get this error, you can click OK, and I think it will still work out. So we need to click this floor, which is our carpeted floor. Go back to L2, edit the boundaries. I think we got them all. We'll need to do this bathroom over here as well, since that one's next to the outside of the house. Click the green check. You can click attach there and just click OK. There's your 3D view. And we're almost there. We just need to finish this other bathroom. If I hold the shift key and push in the mouse wheel, we can see this one is still sticking out. Our tile is right there. I think it is. Yep. Go back to L2, edit our boundary, and then we're just going to use the align tool again. Align that to there and finish it. Okay, go back to 3D. We can see everything still looks kind of bad because we have that kind of gap. So go to L2, select one of your walls, hold in the control key, and then just click on all the outside walls. Just like that. That looks like all of them. And then all we need to do is set a negative 10-inch base offset. That 10 inches comes from the height of the floor. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. That's where I'm coming up with that number. And that's why that gap is 10 inches, because the floor is 10 inches. Let's just click OK there. Go back to our 3D view. And that's looking pretty good. So this should be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a long one and a little bit tedious to do, but I think our house is really starting to look nice. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't know, it helps me, I guess. So thank you.